that those images are still around for people to see, that they haven't been destroyed. And nobody's saying, well, if he was able to do that, because see, the question ain't nobody asking is whether or not these women that were sitting there making meals out of each other for these dudes' entertainment were legal.
Real life. If this shit ain't real life, this shit ain't acting.
If it ain't real life, just say real life street star. You know what time it is.
I mean, Diddy was the Puff Daddy back then. I mean, he was building the band and running the city. Uh, he was the flavor of the year that and around that time.
This was
I-
in New York. This wasn't in New York. This was in Detroit.
oh yeah, Detroit shit. I don't know
He's
how
not
the hell.
from Michigan.
I don't know how the hell.
So we know he has ties to New York. We know he has ties to Atlanta. We know he has ties to Florida. We know he has ties to LA. Now we know that he has ties to Detroit. How many other metropolises in the United States has he been able to infect at the highest levels of government to be able to do his bidding? The Detroit judge saying, our good friend in New York gotta pay the bills somehow. Amen to that. Now, I know y'all had some questions from the other side that you wanted to ask me. Ask me now.
Yeah. Another question from that side of the fence would be, even with Derek, is a silent no different from a verbal no? And does the two even exist? Is there a difference as far as someone verbally saying no to a graping or
Well,
a
it's hard to
silent
say
no?
no when you've been pharmaceuticaled up and you passed out.
Exactly.
Because that's what happened to Derek.
Okay. Okay. Definitely. 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 Um, Jack, you're from this world. We seen a video. If you go to type in Luke and Jay Z in Twitter, you'll see a video of Jay Z sitting next to Luke, Uncle Luke, with two women next to him eating each other out. Another two bearing chests. A very what wouldn't look good today. And again, we go back to, hey, this was the norm back then. Y'all, people call it freak offs. Others will call it, hey, we just partying. You were part of an era back then where it was transitioning to before the Me Too movement, because
Yeah.
it was such a norm back then. And again, like I said, laws and morality changes. Do you feel as morality did change in society, has it gotten better or worse based on what we used to see versus what we see now versus what's behind closed doors in front of our faces? Because this was on a show called Luke's Playhouse. And I'm like now that couldn't even happen today where Jay-Z sits there and whoop de doo.
You want to know what I find funny? That those images are still around for people to see, that they haven't been destroyed. And nobody's saying, well, if he was able to do that, because see, the question ain't nobody asking is whether or not these women that were sitting there making meals out of each other for these dudes' entertainment were legal. Well, nobody's even asking if they were legal.
Yeah, that's man. That's a whole nother
But,
situation.
regardless of all of that, clearly the Jigga Man was cool with being in the presence of men who did stuff like this. So why don't he claim his friend the diddler? Usually when stuff like this comes out and somebody was associated with somebody that was attached to a bunch of heinous things, forget just saying that you weren't friends with that person. Usually you denounce the kind of behavior that they was doing and say, I'm not okay with that. And I stand with the victims. I had no idea he was doing this kind of stuff. Has anybody heard the Jigga Man say one word of protest to anything that the diddler has done at all? Nothing more than we weren't friends. A
Yeah,
lot of
yeah, yeah.
distraction. There's a lot of distraction going on right now. Lot of distraction going on right now. I'm trying to keep it as close to reality as I possibly can because see, Derek Lee Cordell Smith, that's reality. A lot of people have had a lot of things to say about me and about the this and oh man, oh I can't stand her talking about this. I can't stand her talking about that. No, the reason why they can't stand me talking about it is because they don't want to take responsibility for the fact that they watched it and cheered it all along and they enjoyed it for their own entertainment. That's why people have a problem with me.
What What do you say about Young Miami, who has been quiet this whole time?
No,
And
she hasn't. She wrote a letter to
oh
Judge
yeah, yeah, yeah.
Submarinian and said that Diddy was a man of God. And technically, she's almost right because he was pretending to be clergy when he went to the jail right before HSI busted into his house to go visit Derek Lee Cordello Smith as Brother Love, the clergy.
Hey, Jack, hey.
You see what I'm saying? This is almost kind of unfair.
So as we go back to the sentencing, 4 years, 2 months. Um, Once that got out there,
Mhm.
Diddy's gonna go sit down in, like you said, probably a low max uh, camp, fed time. The judge had spoken to him, and he started off with the good he's been doing, but he spoke a lot on the bad. But then he still kind of gave him, like you said, right in the middle of the road. But he said he wanted to see him get out and everything he said he's gonna do and preach and be this better, you know, uh, person in society. The punishment doesn't seem to fit what the crime, because the judge said based on sentencing, he took into account the statements of the victims. He said, yes, we know you're innocent of this RICO, but I cannot take away what I heard as
No,
far as
it's
the
not that
victim's
he's
testimony.
innocent. See, and that I have a hard time dealing with. It's not that he's innocent of it. He just wasn't convicted of it.
There you go. There you go.
See, that's the thing. People think that because somebody's not convicted of something, that means that they're innocent of it. And that's not true. If you were able to buy off the jury, do you know that there is a grand jury indictment right now against Sean Combs for allegedly buying off one of the jurors for the Club New York gun violence case against him back in 2000?
Yeah, no, that's
Yeah, yeah. He was
yeah.
trying to buy 3 jurors. You want to know what didn't happen during that federal trial this year? The jury wasn't sequestered. There was nothing but YouTubers all over the place in that courtroom, outside that courtroom, watching what trains those jurors got on to go home.
Shout out Reallyfe Street Stars, nigga. Move. Hey.